Okay, this is mole mash part 3. So we've got the mole running around our canvas. However, we need to make it so if we touch the mole, you will get a score. So, quite simply, what we are going to do is we're going to do the mole sprite dot touched. We need to put our code in here to say what to do if we actually get the mole. So we know that if we want to get the mole, if we do get the mole, we will need to add 1 onto the score. We want to make the phone vibrate, so we know that we've managed to get a score, and then also update the score at the bottom of our label here. Now, to save our score, we need to have something called a variable. So I'm going to go to variables here, initialize a global variable. I'm not going to call it a name, I'm going to call it score. And a variable is just a little storage box where we can store anything. We can store a number, some text, we can store anything in our variable. We're going to store a 0 under the score variable. Now, underneath mole touched, I'm going to say we want to set this variable score, and what we want to set it to is 1 more than what it currently is. That means I'm going to need an add and the number 0, change that to 1, and I need to get the variable score. So that means every time I touch the mole, I'm going to set the value of our variable score to whatever it was plus 1, and that way it's going to increase the variable each time we get a score. So I could give that a try. I am now going to, there you go, I've tapped it once, I've tapped it twice, I've tapped the mole 3 times. But you've noticed something, this score is not actually increasing, so there's something wrong. I've got the code which adds 1 to the score each time, so why is it not showing a score increase here? It's because we've not actually set the label yet. So I need to go to score label, and I need to set the text. I'm going to set the text to, well, I need to join 2 parts together. First of all, I want to say score, colon, and I'm going to put a space as well. It's very important to put a space after the colon. And then underneath I'm going to join on to that whatever the score is, global score. So now every time I touch the mole sprite, it's going to add 1 to the score and then set the label to the current score. So if I go back, obviously it's still 0 because I've not touched it yet. I'm going to try and touch the mole a few times. Now if this has worked correctly, next time I touch the mole it should say 4 because I've already got a 3 points from before, we just didn't update it. So try now, 1, there we go, 4. So 5, 6, oh no I didn't get that one, 6, 7, 8. So it's working. Now we need to be able to reset it. So when I push this reset button, I want to reset the score to 0. So I'm going to find my button, reset button. When I click it, I'm going to set my global score to 0. And again, if I click that, nothing's going to happen. So I'm clicking it, nothing is updating because I haven't updated my label yet. So if I can duplicate this here, that way, let me just move this up. When I click my button, so when the button is clicked, set the score to 0, then update the text saying score, global score. And if I click that, score is now 0. And I can start again. So 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, so almost there. The last thing to do is prevent it from being cheated. So that means at the moment, because it only moves once every second, if I touch the mole, I can tap a few times and get a score before it like a couple of points before it moves, which isn't really great. So I'll give you an example. I'll reset to 0. So what I'm going to try and do is tap the mole 3 times in its current position. So 1, 2, 3. There you go. So you got 3 points in one go. That shouldn't happen. If I do it again, I'll get 6 points. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I only got 2 points there. But if I keep tapping, I can get many points from the same mole. So what I want to do is also move the mole when I get a score. So I'm going to drag another move mole action here. So now my touched mole sprites will say update the score by 1, update the label, then move it straight away so I can't get another point. And that way, let me reset this back to 0. Okay, so yeah, 1. I'm trying to tap several times and it's not letting me because every time I tap it, it will move somewhere else. So that way I can't cheat. And that is the completed version of Mole Mash 2 so far. The last stage is to get it to vibrate when we click, so you know that you've got a point. So if I go to sound 1.vibrate, put that under touched as well. Let's move that one over here. And in the milliseconds I need to put 100, so put that there, 100. And now obviously you can't see that, but every time I click the mole, the phone vibrates, so I know that I've got a point. And that's it. That is a completed app now. You can extend it by having a second timer, and you could put like a countdown, so rather than it just going on completely forever, you can make it like how many times, what's your highest score within so many seconds, like 10 seconds or 20 seconds. You could have a scoreboard, you could add a few more different backgrounds, you could change the picture of the mole to something else. There's a lot of other things you could do to extend this app. So now that you've got this working, extend your app to try and get something a bit more interesting and creative.